Pastor Maxwell, I scholar you. Come on, this Come on, something around for your children. Jehovah Jireh, something around you. They are suffering all over Nigeria. In the house, what has happened? In the house, what I want to welcome you to the very last segment of our broadcast tonight. You are welcome wherever you are joining. You are welcome. You are welcome. Thank you for joining us. Good night, good evening, and good night to you, depending on your time. This very last podcast is looking into a very certain one that's coming from the legal team of Mazen and the lead of the indigenous people of Biafra IPOB. It became imperative that this very legal team will issue an official statement regarding what is called misrepresentation of facts when it has to do with the real status of the IPOB in Nigeria in comparison to other countries of the world. IPOB was proscribed by the government of Nigeria during the time of President Muhammadu Buhari. This was in active connivance with I don't think it was all of the 5 Eastern governors as at the time, but I believe some of the Southeastern governors at the time, they were part and process of breaking IPOB was not actually according to the law. The process that led to the proscription of IPOB was not actually according to the provision of the Constitution of Nigeria. It was contrary to the provision of the Constitution of Nigeria, in the sense that it was an ex parte order. There was no proceedings, there was no legal processes, there was no court hearing, there was no legal representation of IPOB in the court during the time that the Nigerian government obtained it very ex parte order from the court. So it is contrary to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Therefore, such proscription is illegal and it cannot stand. It has never stood since 2017 that it was secured through a kangaroo or through a court ex parte order. And till today, it is not standing. It is not standing. Okay, so because when you consider the judgment of other courts, both the domestic courts, the Court of Nigeria, Federal High Court in Umuahia, Federal High Court in Enugu, Appeal Court in Abuja, Supreme Court in Abuja, all of these judgments that came from these various courts that I've mentioned in Nigeria, they did not describe IPOB as a terrorist organization. They never mentioned it. Some people who have been misled by different kind of government propaganda, who have been misled and deceived into the actual status of IPOB in Nigeria, they have been using that very tag, terrorist organization, proscribed terrorist organization, which is very, very wrong, which is very, very wrong. Some people are actually happy that the group or the organization has been proscribed by the government of Nigeria because they feel or they believe that they are not directly affected by this very proscription. But what they fail to understand is that injustice to one eventually, at the long run, becomes injustice to all, because that becomes what is called legal precedence. Legal precedence. What is legal precedence? How a matter is handled in the court. The judgment that a judge has given regarding a certain matter in the court. If that judgment is not overturned, if that judgment was allowed to stick, it becomes legal precedence. In a similar matter in the future, when a similar case will be tried in the court, there is going to be what is called citation of authority. And that very judgment that was passed in the former case some years ago or some months ago will be cited as an authority. It becomes a legal precedence. And by the time the people that don't feel the impact of this type of proscription or this type of injustice, by the time it is their case that is being tried in court, they will start crying foul. They will start crying it is unconstitutional. But now it is happening to someone else or to a particular group. You will not cry, you will not shout that it is unconstitutional. You will smile over it, you will gloat over it, you will be so happy because it doesn't affect you directly. This is what I have been preaching. This is what I've been trying to sensitize all that care to hear for so many years. This is exactly what happened in the proscription of IPOB. IPOB is acronym for the indigenous people of Biafra. You cannot proscribe the indigenous people. It is practically unconstitutional, and it can never be supported by any domestic or international laws. It is not possible. You cannot do it. You cannot proscribe the indigenous people. You cannot call them terrorists, indigenous people. And more especially, this very umbrella body that is leading the indigenous people of Biafra is registered in almost 120 countries of the world. So how can it be that it is only Nigeria here that they were proscribed through a court ex parte order? They were not proscribed in the United Kingdom. They are not proscribed in the United States of America. They still have their meetings. They still go about their activities. They still hold their mass protests in the United States of America. In Israel, the same. In Germany, the same. In Russia, the same. In Japan, in China, in different countries of the world, both the African countries. It is only here in Nigeria that they are proscribed. Why can't you ask yourself, why is it so? And if you ask yourself such a question and you're sincere to accept the sincere answer that is coming to such a question, you will believe that this was as a result of the notoriety of the government of Nigeria to always quell, to always suppress any dissenting voice, any voice that doesn't agree with it. More especially, voices that are trying to call them to account, that are trying to challenge the status quo that is not actually for the interest of the masses. The government will marshal out, will release all that it has in its custody to make sure that such voices are suppressed. This is exactly what happened. And because of this, some media houses have joined the ignorant people. Media houses, unfortunately, they're supposed to be an avenue or medium of enlightenment to the public, have joined in perpetuating the ignorance of the public when it comes to this very real status of the IPOB in Nigeria. And because of this, the legal team of Nnamdi Kanu came up with a definite, and should I say it is a last warning to all the media houses, to individuals, to different agencies that address IPOB as a terrorist organization, that if you call IPOB a terrorist organization, you will face a fierce legal battle. That is the warning that is coming from the legal team of IPOB and the legal team of Nnamdi Kanu. If you call IPOB a terrorist organization, you will face fierce legal actions. That is a warning that is coming from the legal team of IPOB, also of Maz Nnamdi Kanu. I'm going to bring it to the screen so that you may see and be informed and advised on what to do and how to address this very organization. This is it. This is it. Our Father in heaven, I, Pastor Maxwell, I call on you. Come and turn this around for your people. My faith is in you. The Lord, I call on you today. Come and turn things around. Come and turn things around. Come and turn things around for your children. Jehovah Jireh, turn things around. Papa, they are suffering all over Nigeria. In the Nazareth, in the Nazareth, United Nations government are setting which is on the and that's all of it. Yes, if you call IPOB a terrorist organization, you will face fierce and legal action. IPOB legal team issues final warning. They have issued final warning to the media houses, content creators, broadcasters, TV hosts, AOPs of different radio stations, and you are going to see the people that this very warning is directed at. Henceforth, any further reference to IPOB as a terrorist organization will be met and countervailed with a muscular litigation and other lawful measures, regardless of who the entity is. This is coming from the legal team of IPOB and Nnamdi Kanu. Henceforth, from the time that this very warning was issued, any further reference to IPOB. IPOB is an acronym for Indigenous People of Biafra, IPOB. Any further reference to IPOB as a terrorist organization will be met and countervailed with a muscular litigation and other lawful measures, regardless of who the entity is. So if you continue to refer to IPOB as a terrorist organization, you should be prepared. You should have your lawyer very much handy. You should have your lawyer very much ready, because you will be taken to court to prove it. Yes, if you go ahead to allow yourself to be deceived into calling or referring to IPOB as a terrorist organization, if you feel that you know better than the Constitution of Nigeria, if you feel or you believe you know better than the law of the land, if you believe that you are with the best information that actually qualifies IPOB as a terrorist organization, be ready to prove it in court. And it must interest you to know that throughout the litigation or the court processes of Nnamdi Kanu, in the court of Justice Binta Nyako, Justice Binta Nyako has never referred to IPOB as a terrorist organization in her courtroom. She has never. Even Justice Binta Nyako, which is the trial judge of the case of Nnamdi Kanu, since she started sitting on this case, she has never referred to IPOB as a terrorist organization in that very courtroom. She has not. The appeal court justices that delivered judgment which discharged and acquitted Mazi Nnamdi Kanu on the 13th of October 2022, they never referred to IPOB as a terrorist organization. They never did that. They never did it. That was one of the charges that the federal government of Nigeria preferred against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. They said that he belonged to a terrorist organization. He is a member of a terrorist organization. That was one of the charges that they preferred on him, that they brought to court against him. But do you know, since this very trial started, more especially for the past 3 years, that he has been in the DSS dungeon in Abuja, Nigeria, and he has been going to court, Justice Binta Nyako has never opened her mouth to refer to IPOB as a terrorist organization. She has never done it. So why would you do it? Media house, why would you do it? When the judge that knows the law better than you has refused to do it, why will you do it? You content creator that join the gullible and the uninformed into calling IPOB a terrorist organization, a terrorist group. In your ignorance, why is it that the judge that is trying the case has not done it? And you are the one doing it because you are a content creator. Because you want people to watch your content, to watch your video, to read your article, or to read whatever publication you have made on the pages of the newspaper. You are not a judge. You are not in the best position to define who is a terrorist and who is not, based on the Constitution. You are not the judge. Why? Media houses, maybe out of hatred for the Igbo people, out of the hatred you inherited from whomsoever that you inherited it from. The same hatred they had for the Igbo people, you inherited it. And you hate a people that didn't do you any wrong. Collectively as a people, jointly together as a tribe. Maybe due to the fact that you have a misunderstanding with one or two persons from Igbo. So you now hate the entire Igbo race. Do you know that without the Igbos, Nigeria wouldn't have independence? Do you know that? That you are now protecting Nigeria, you think you are protecting Nigeria. It was an Igbo man that fought for the independence of Nigeria, if you don't know. The father of late Chukwuemeka Odumegwu, do you know that he brought the money that was paid for the independence of Nigeria? Do you know that? Louis Ojukwu. Louis, that's the father of late General Chukwuemeka Odumegwu. He was the richest man in Africa at the time. It was the father of Chukwuemeka Odumegwu, an Igbo man, that brought the money that was paid in pounds for the freedom of Nigeria. He was the one that brought the only Rolls Royce in Africa that the Queen of England rode on when the government of Nigeria could not provide it. So that you begin to fight the people that have actually contributed to the sustenance of this very country, to the establishment of Nigeria. You cannot love Nigeria more than the Igbo people. You cannot. No matter how you claim that you love Nigeria, you want Nigeria to remain one. Igbo people are troublemakers. Biafrans are looking for Biafra. Oh, they want to cause war. You cannot love Nigeria more than the Igbo people. The Igbo people are development oriented. Anywhere they go, they try to develop that very place. If they go to a swamp, they will try to develop it. If they find themselves in the dustbin, they will try to turn it to a paradise. It is their nature. All the major development that spread across this very country, go and calculate all of them, do your research. You will find out that about 90% of them were brought or made possible by the Igbo people. Igbos, yes, that is the truth. You cannot take it away from the Igbo people. It is their nature. And that is why they are hated and they are not allowed level playing ground in Nigeria, because the powers that be are ignorantly afraid of them rather than embrace them and allow them to continue to bring their ingenuity to the table for the development of the entire country and for everybody. They are scared of them. So whatever they do, any little mistake or anything they do, they try to portray it in a very bad light, that everybody will hate them, everybody will be so agitated, upset with them. Why is it that the judges that have been sitting on the case of Mazen Namdekan none of them has ever addressed IPOB as a terrorist organization? And it is you, Punch newspaper, Vanguard newspaper, Guardian paper, the Sun Online, or the Nation, or the Telegram, or all of those nation dailies, although some of them are beginning to learn and they're beginning to put it in the proper perspective by addressing IPOB with the accurate status before the law, before the eyes of the law, not based on what the government wants. So that's why this warning came from the legal team of Mazen Namdekan, warning all and sundry that if you call IPOB a terrorist organization, if you ever call IPOB a terrorist organization, then you should be ready. Let's continue before we bring this broadcast to an end. The legal team of Namdekan, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, has released a legal notice to the general public, government agencies, and the media to cease and desist from calling or tagging the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, a terrorist organization or group. Otherwise, you risk a fierce legal action. This very news is coming from trackingtimes.co. Trackingtimes.co. That's where this piece of news item is coming from. The legal notice was signed by the lead counsel of Namdekan's legal team, who doubles as special counsel to the IPOB leader, Barrister Aloy Ejimako. Ejimako revealed that there is a substituting judgment of a court or a competent high court in Nigeria attached herewith, which ruled that IPOB's proscription or declaration as a terrorist group by Buhari is illegal, discriminatory, and unconstitutional. I hope you're following. A substituting judgment of a competent high court in Nigeria, which is also attached in this very news item. You are going to see it. And in that very subsisting judgment of a federal high court, the ruling is that IPOB's proscription or declaration as a terrorist group by Buhari during the time of President Muhammad Buhari is illegal. That is what the court said, that it is illegal and that it is discriminatory. It is discriminatory. illegal, number one. Number two, discriminatory. It is illegal. It is not legal. It is not according to the law. It is discriminatory because it has to do with Igbo. Because it has to do with Igbo. Discrimination and unconstitutional. It is not according to the Constitution of Nigeria. It is not according to the Constitution of Nigeria. So, he went on to say that compliance with this judgment strictly demands that IPOB should no longer be referred to as a terrorist organization. As I said minutes ago, if you go ahead to tag or to write about IPOB, to refer to them as a terrorist organization, before you do that, you should tell your lawyer. You should inform your lawyer to be ready because you will go to court to prove it. More especially, there is a court judgment that is telling you that don't do it because it is illegal. It is discriminatory and it is unconstitutional. And would you, for the hatred or prejudice in your mind you have against a particular group of people, would you, because of that, risk jail term? Would you, because of that, waste so much money in court, in litigation? Remember that you as an individual, you cannot win a group of people that make contributions from different countries of the world, that runs into millions of dollars. You will lose, and you will pay so dearly for it. Stop it. Do not allow anyone to deceive you. Do not allow your prejudice or your hatred for the Igbo people or the Biafra people to lead you into unnecessary expenses that you are going to regret. And possibly you will serve jail term. You will be jailed. You will be taken. You will be imprisoned. And you will no longer be able to write about IPOB. Does it make any sense? It doesn't. So be very, very careful. That is what the legal team is telling you today. So this is the full read of the publication. Legal notice. This was issued about 7th of June from Nnamdi Kanu's legal team to all media and general public and government agencies. What is the subject? The subject states very clearly, henceforth, all should cease and desist from calling IPOB a terrorist group. If you say you are too stubborn, if you say you are too wise, wiser than the judges in the court, which I said minutes ago, who have refused to address IPOB as a terrorist organization, I've mentioned it. The Federal High Court in Umuahia, the Federal High Court in Enugu, the Federal High Court in Abuja, the Appeal Court in Abuja, the Supreme Court in Abuja, all of these courts, including the ECOWAS Court of Justice in 2018, including the United Nations judgment, all of them refuse to recognize or address IPOB as a terrorist organization. So if you feel you are wiser than all of them, you are more enlightened than all of them, go ahead and address this very group as a terrorist organization. And when you will be taken to court, don't ever call for anybody. Don't ever plead for any mercy or settlement out of the court because you're going to pay damages. The general public, media houses, and government agencies are hereby put on legal notice of the following. You are hereby put on legal notice of the following. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's legal team is under firm instructions from our client to issue this final warning to all persons and institutions still referring to IPOB as a terrorist organization. I want to repeat that again. I hope that network is allowing my voice to come out as clear as possible. as clear as possible so that this information will not be missed as a result of network interruptions or network outages. I think my voice is coming out. So, Mars and Americano's legal team is under firm instruction from our client to issue this final warning to all persons and institutions still referring to IPOB as a terrorist organization. Is a warning that you must take very seriously. You must take this very warning so seriously. Henceforth, any further reference to IPOB as a terrorist organization will be met and countervailed with a muscular litigation and other lawful measures, regardless of who the entity is. This is because there is a substituting judgment of a competent high court in Nigeria attached herewith, which ruled that IPOB's proscription or declaration as a terrorist group by Buhari is illegal, discriminatory, and unconstitutional. Compliance with this judgment strictly demands that IPOB should no longer be referred to as a terrorist organization. Additionally, those calling IPOB a terrorist organization have not adduced a scintilla of evidence that IPOB has ever engaged in any terrorist activity. And that is the truth. If you ask them now, what makes IPOB a terrorist organization? They will start making reference to protest. They will start talking about, oh, they blocked the road. Oh, they say we should sit at home. Oh, they say, is that what do you call civil disobedience? What do you call civil disobedience according to the constitution of the country? When people embark on a peaceful protest, in that protest, did they shoot you? In that protest, what harm did they bring to you? Even when Labour embarks upon a peaceful protest and they decide to shut down power grid, which is NEPA, they say that NEPA will not give light again. And they shut down banks, they shut down a lot of, because these are workers. They go on strike. Do you call it a terrorist activity? Do you do that? The answer is no. So when you ask these people, what is it that qualifies IPOB as a terrorist organization? They have no answer to it. Practically no answer to it. They cannot prove it. Hatred blinds the right judgment of people. And I don't know why some people don't want to learn. This is underscored by verifiable fact that since the so-called IPOB member, abductions, horrendous torture, false flags, and extrajudicial killings leveled against its alleged members, which is the truth. Many of them have been arrested and taken to court and also released. None of them have been convicted of any terrorism, of any terrorist act. None of them. Bailed. None of them has been convicted of any terrorist act. So this is the attachment of that very court order. This is the attachment of the court order. It is right here, on the 26th of October 2023. That was when this very order was given by the Federal High Court. 26th, follow my mouse, follow the pointer. This is on this day, the 26th day of October 2023. That was when this very order was given by the court. between Mazen and Kano applying for himself and on behalf of members of the indigenous people of Biafra and Federal Republic of Nigeria, President, Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, the Governor of Ebonyi State, Southeast Governors Forum, okay, as respondents. You can see that. And this is the judgment order. Upon this matter coming up today, the 26th day of October 2023 for judgment, after considering the purposes or the processes filed, the annexures and the written addresses filed by counsel for applicant or respondent, and after hearing the submissions of Aloy Jimako Esquire, appears with Patrick Agazi Esquire, Ifeanyi C. Nwogu Esquire, A.C. Eguzoribe Esquire, Edith C. Eze Esquire, and A.F. Ilanya Esquire for the applicant, and Mamuna Lami Shiru Mrs. appears with Enoch Simon Esquire and Ochum Emmanuel Esquire for the first and third respondents. Court ordered number 1. In declaration that the practical application of the Terrorism Prevention Act and the execution of administrative action of the respondent, which directly led to the proscription of IPOB and its listing as a terrorist group, and said IPOB being comprised of citizens of Nigeria, of the Igbo and Eastern Nigerian ethnic groups, profession the political opinion of self-determination. I hope you've seen that self-determination is mentioned there. Of its ethnicity as enshrined and guaranteed under Section 42 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended. And these fundamental rights are enshrined under Articles 2, 3, 19, and 20 of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights Enforcement and Ratification Act. Paragraph 2, a declaration that self-determination is not a crime. It's not a crime in Nigeria. It's not. This is coming from the court. It is coming from the court of Nigeria. But some media people and presenters and broadcasters will not listen. Hatred is really a disease. Ignorance is a worse disease. This is coming from the court. I want to ensure that this very broadcast is coming out. I want to check it out, that it is still coming out for the purposes of enlightenment, that people may understand and behave advisedly and in the right way. Do not allow hatred to always becloud your right sense of judgment or reasoning. Do not allow hatred. It will never do you any good. Be very objective in your news items or your news broadcasting or your information dissemination. Be very, very objective. Don't allow hatred, prejudice, antagonism to always becloud your right sense of reasoning. Yes, the information is coming out. A declaration that self-determination is not a crime in Nigeria and cannot be used as a basis to arrest, detain, and prosecute the applicant. Paragraph 3, an order mandating and compelling the respondent jointly and severally to issue official letters of apology to the applicant for infringement of his said fundamental rights and publication of said letters of apology in 3 national dailies. Paragraph 4, an order mandating and compelling the respondents to jointly or severally pay the sum of 8 billion naira, 8 billion naira, 8 billion naira to the applicant, being monetary damages claimed by the applicant against the respondent jointly and severally for the physical, mental, emotional, psychological, property, and other damages suffered by the applicant as a result of the infringement of his fundamental rights by the respondent. I make no order as to cost issued at Enugu under the seal of court and hand of the presiding judge this Thursday, the 26th day of October 2023. Hatred is so evil. Hatred. Why do you go about hating people?
When the righteous man is seated upon the throne, everywhere you go, it is joy, joy, joy.
Yes, that's the question. Why do you go about hating people that didn't do you no wrong? This is a court judgment. Some of you are surprised to see this very judgment. 26th of October 2023, last year, that the federal government, the government of Nigeria, the Attorney General, and all the respondents that are mentioned in that very case, they are to pay Nnamdi Kanu and IPOB 8 billion naira for calling them or for proscribing them or tagging them terrorist organization. And you, there's a media house, you open your mouth before the camera. IPOB, a proscribed a terrorist organization. Because you are not from Igbo, or because you are not directly affected. Even some Igbo people that do it, it's still the same. Because you are not directly affected. You open your mouth wide and call the indigenous people. Before Nigeria, there was Oduduwa. Before Nigeria was created, there was Hausa. Before Nigeria was created, there was Biafra. Biafra appeared on the map of the world in the 15th century when map came into existence as far back as the 15th century. Go and do your research. Many of you will not do any research. All you want to do is to broadcast. All you want to do is to stand before the microphone with a microphone and the cameras and the lightings and the background. And you begin to talk what you don't understand because of the money they pay you. You must be more interested in understanding the facts and the right history about a people before you can address them in the way you do. And with this, we bring the very last segment of our broadcast for today to an end. We will see you again tomorrow for other important, very, very interesting stories in Nigeria and outside the country. Bye-bye.
When the wicked man is seated upon the throne, everywhere you go, he is crying, suffer, 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 tire, 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 suffer, suffer. From the east to the west, the man will never come. From the north to the south, there is trouble, trouble.